The House will come to order. Please join Representative McCormick in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Gregorio, please call the roll.
Representatives Amabile, Bacon, Baisley, Benavidez, Burnett, Representative Burnett, Representative Burnett is excused. Byrd, Bockenfeld, Bradfield, Caraveo, Carver, Catlin, Cutter, Doherty, Duran, Escar, Exum, Froelich, Geithner, Gonzalez Gutierrez, Gray, Hanks, Herod, Holtorf, Hooten, Jackson, Representative Jackson. Representative Jackson is excused. Judah, Kennedy, Kipp, Larson, Montine, Luck. Representative Luck. Representative Luck is excused. Lynch, McCluskey, McCormick, McKean, McLaughlin,
Present.
Michelson Janae, Mullica, Representative Mullica. Representative Mullica is excused. Neville, Representative Neville. Representative Neville is excused. Ortiz, Pelton, Pico, Ransom, Rich, Ricks, Roberts, Sandridge, Sirota, Snyder, Soper, Representative Soper is excused. Sullivan, Tipper, Representative Tipper, Titone, Valdez A, Valdez D, Van Weber, Van Winkle, Weissman, Will, Williams, Woodrow, Woog, Young, and Mr. Speaker.
"59 present, 5 excused, and 1 vacancy. We have a quorum. Representative McCormick.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the Journal of Thursday, April 22nd, 2021 be approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk.
It's Friday. Members, you have heard the motion that the journal be approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk. All those in favor say aye. Wow. It's actually the loudest sigh I've heard in like 5 years. All those opposed, no. That was quite impressive. For all those in the gallery, I think you agree with me. The ayes have it. The motion is approved. Announcements and introductions. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, especially those of you who have to pack for the week next week, heads up. Bring $5 by Wednesday, the 28th. And you get to wear jeans on the floor of the House because we'll be talking about taking a stand against sexual violence next week. But I just wanted to remind those of you like me who pack on the weekend for the week to make sure you pack a pair of nice jeans. So we'll talk more about this next week, but wanted to give you all heads up. Thanks.
Representative Byrd.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I want to call your attention to a special day that's happening tomorrow. So first, call your attention to why it's important to safely dispose of medications that you might have in your home. So I'm sure we all know that improper drug disposal can lead to many problems for people in our environment. Proper disposal helps protect our environment against negative and toxic effects that can take place if we don't dispose of these drugs carefully and keep them out of the hands of people who shouldn't have them. So, specifically to address this, on April 24th, which is tomorrow, that is National Take Back Day. This spring, we mark a full year of battling the COVID-19 pandemic. Vaccine distributions are providing hope across the country. April 24th, National Take Back Day is fast approaching, and though Take Back Day will look different in each state, as we continue to socially distance, we can all take proactive steps to dispose of old or unneeded medications by cleaning out our medicine cabinets. Colorado is unique because of its permanent drug take-back program and our permanent take-back locations. For additional information about the importance of proper safe disposal, you can visit a website, so I hope you get your pens and paper ready. It's rally, RALI-CO.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Byrd. Representative Weissman.
Thank you, and good morning, Mr. Speaker and members.
And members, please, we have announcements and introductions.
I'm going to start by sharing a very brief poem from William Carlos Williams that some of us are familiar with. I have eaten the plums that were in the icebox and which you were probably saving for breakfast. Forgive me, they were delicious, so sweet and so cold. Now, I would not actually eat anybody's plums were they in the icebox, because I'm not that kind of person. And more to the point, like most other things in the icebox, come Friday at the end of a long week, they would probably be gross and not edible anyway. So, it is Friday. I'm here again to chide all of us into taking stuff home that you might have brought and put there in the week, lest it be tossed out in the name of the good of the order. We just had a much more important announcement from Rep. Byrd about prescription drug take-back, so I guess I'm here to urge everyone to take back your leftovers for the weekend. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Representative Weissman. Representative Duran.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Capitol Choir, please come on down. We've got a birthday in the house.
Capitol Choir, come on down.
Where is Representative Byrd? She was just here. Oh, look, there she is. Capitol Choir.
No, voting today and tomorrow. Okay. And have an answer on Sunday. I'll send it out in chat. Okay, great. Thank you.
I've been thinking about it. You ready? All right.
Able to see
Okay. Let's go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Representative Byrd. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday. Further announcements and introductions. Representative Michelson Janae.
Well, mine is not nearly as exciting as singing to Representative Byrd. Public and Behavioral Health and Human Services Committee, we are meeting today. She's seeing me. We have two bills. House Bill 1270 with Exum and Caraveo, and House Bill 1272 to Representative Cutter. If you're disappointed about meeting on Friday, you know who to talk to.
Representative D. Valdez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, Statutory Revision Committee is meeting today at 1:30 in the Old State Library. Also have another announcement that the Colorado Agriculture Hall of Fame is set for May 5th. Please register for the event. We'll see you there at the Colorado Agriculture Hall of Fame, May 5th.
Thank you, Representative D. Valdez. Representative Herod.
Members, I'd like to have your attention, please, members. This morning, the Appropriations Committee met, and I will tell you we had a joyous time. I want to thank all the members who came with a joke to share. We asked members to share a joke with the committee before their bill was up for consideration, and you all rose to the challenge. So this morning's Appropriation Joke Award, the first inaugural award, goes to Representative Tatone, who had 3 jokes. And we are hoping that she graces us with her jokes this morning, and I'm pretty sure she's ready. So thank you, members, everyone who came and members of the Appropriations Committee. We had a great time this morning. Feel free to come join us next time.
Okay, well, the first inaugural joke award. Congratulations, Representative Tatone. Further announcements and introductions. Seeing none, the next order of business is general order, second reading of bills. Representative. Oh, we have a tribute. Sorry, we're not quite there yet. My fault. Representative Exum. Members, we have a tribute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a tribute and like it to be read at length, please.
The state of Colorado, in memoriam, in the House of Representatives convened in the 73rd General Assembly, hereby extends sincere condolences and expressions of sympathy to the friends and family of Gene Howard Sutherland. Gene Howard Sutherland was born June 14, 1940, in Bridgeport, Connecticut, to a family of 13 siblings. He arrived in Colorado Springs in 1963 and worked as a barber at Fort Carson until he was honorably discharged in 1964. He then completed the Colorado State Barber exams and made Colorado Springs his home. In 1966, Gene Sutherland met the love of his life, Rita Jewett, and they were married the following year. Mr. Sutherland followed his dreams of being a barber and opened Mr. G's Barber Shop at 603 South El Paso Street. In 1977, Mr. G's Barber Shop grew into Mr. G's Hair Design Studios, eventually becoming one of the longest-running black-owned businesses in Colorado Springs. Mr. Sutherland believed wholeheartedly in giving back to the community as a lifetime member of the NAACP and the Price Hall Masons of Colorado Springs. He was not only a husband, brother, and father, but also a mentor. While his shop was closed on Mondays, he would make visits to nursing homes and perform haircuts on the sick and shut-ins at no charge. He would also give free haircuts to homeless clients to help them gain employment. His service did not go unnoticed, earning dozens of awards from organizations such as the NAACP, the Urban League, and the Colorado Springs Chamber of Commerce. He has been widely recognized as a community icon, and several of his young customers have become barbers themselves because of his influence. While Mr. Sutherland will be dearly missed, his legacy lives on through his many contributions to the city of Colorado Springs. On request of Representative Tony Exum Sr., given this 25th day of April 2021, State Capitol, Denver.
Representative Exum.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And members, thanks for standing. You can have a seat if you will. I want to share just a few remarks, and then I'm going to introduce some members of Mr. G's family. Gene Sutherland, Mr. G, as we called him, was not just more than a barber, he was my friend. He cut my hair from 1969, when I was just a kid in high school, a little bit shorter than I am now, if you can imagine that, up to just a few weeks before he passed on February 28, 2021. But he was also my biggest supporter, encourager, counselor, and protector. From those early years all the way through today and my crazy political campaigns. He used to put my campaign signs in the barbershop and tell people all about me. He would sing my praises to people just that were there trying to get a haircut. Many people thought I went to Mr. G's barbershop way too much. They're probably right. How could I stay away? For decades, I always got more than just a haircut from Mr. G. What I got was encouragement, guidance, direction, love, help, kindness, hope, and affirmation. Because that's who Mr. G was. He was a barber, and he was also an encourager. He had a genuine heart for people, showing a real loving concern for you. He had an empathetic ear, always ready to listen to whatever you needed to say. He had an eye for potential, recognizing when people had their own internal power to be amazing. And he encouraged people to realize that the power within themselves in their own lives. Mr. G was a consistent source of hope for me and for everyone he knew. And he set a positive and inspiring example for how anyone and everyone could be a good person. While his barbershop was closed on Mondays, he would make visits to nursing homes and perform haircuts on the sick and shut-in with no charge. And he also would give free haircuts to homeless clients to help them gain employment. Mr. G would also go to secondhand stores regularly to buy hats, gloves, scarves, coats, canes, walkers, that he randomly give them away to homeless and low-income families who needed them. He also randomly paid for people's meals at restaurants and drive-in windows. I will miss him. I will miss his generosity. I will miss his hope and optimism. But most importantly, I will miss his friendship. His spirit will be with me forever. Rest in peace. Rest easy, Mr. G. And members, I'd like to, if I can, Mr. Speaker, and members of the House, I'd like to introduce part of his legacy in the gallery, his two daughters, Miss Michelle Medley and Miss Jennifer Sutherland. Please welcome them to the chamber. Thank you, members. And this is a plaque with the tribute that was read that I will be giving to them a little later on. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Representative Exum, and welcome to the People's House, and so sorry for your loss. Further announcements and introductions. Seeing none, we will proceed to the next order of business, which is General Order's second reading of bills. Representative Woodrow. You have heard the motion. Seeing no objection, Representative Woodrow will take the chair.
The committee will come to order. With your unanimous consent, the bills will be read by title unless there's a request for reading a bill at length. Committee reports are printed and in your bill folders. Floor amendments will be shown on the screen and on your iPads. Bills will be laid over upon motion of the majority leader, and the court rule is relaxed. Happy Friday, everybody. Woo. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to lay over Senate Bill 226 until Friday, April 30th.
Senate Bill 226 will be laid over at the request of the Majority Leader. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of House Bill 1168.
House Bill 1168 by Representatives Bacon and Ricks, also Senator Kolker, concerning historically underutilized businesses and local government procurement.
Representative Bacon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It is an honor to serve with you.
It is an honor to serve with you, Representative Bacon.
Yes, I move House Bill 1168 and the committee reports.
Thank you. To the finance report. Representative Bacon.
Yes, thank you. In Finance Committee, we just confirmed that we do not have a fiscal note as we have had the ability to work with DOLA and with our partners to determine what work would be done there. So I encourage an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion?
Committee? That's fine.
Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Finance Committee report. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The finance report is adopted. To the Transportation and Local Government report.
No, you do that one. Distract, okay?
Representative Bacon.
Thank you. In Transportation and Local Government, we were able to present our amendment because we had a strike below. And so that amendment was adopted. We also added an amendment to update language around veterans and qualifying veterans. And so, that's what we accomplished in Transportation and Local Government. I urge an aye vote.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on the Transportation and Local Government report? Representative Pico.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've got one concern with the strike below and as it stands right now. Overall, this is, I think, is a good bill. It addresses the issues of what the barriers are for continued work on there. But I think there's something missing out of that, and that is qualified businesses. And this is something we discussed. I withdrew the amendment in the committee, but I think it's important to bring this forward and bring this concept in there. And as a little bit of background, I worked for 16 years in federal contracting, and one of the qualifications we had, in fact, I worked for a minority-owned business that fell under those qualifications. We were required to be qualified, and that is one amendment that I propose should be done to this. As such, I move Amendment L007 and ask that it be displayed.
The amendment has been moved. We're going to have it displayed.
What this amendment does is includes one word in the list of minority-owned businesses. It says qualified, and it is an important criteria. I believe that businesses should be qualified in there, and it adds the definition of a qualified, meaning a business that has a track record that is able to provide a prior record of accomplishment, so that it is an established business. And I think this is an important qualification as we contract out. This is what is in place in the federal government. This is the standards that I had to meet as working within a minority-owned business, and I think it is equally applicable to the state, and I ask for an aye vote to the amendment.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Rich.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As someone that has worked in local government and has done that for 16 years, I think it's very important that we make sure that the businesses are qualified, not just put them in there for some other reason about just giving them a chance. This could end up costing local governments a lot of money. So I think it's a reasonable amendment, and I'm asking for an aye vote.
Representative Ricks.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I urge a no vote on this amendment. The purpose of this pilot is to determine if these businesses, to determine the best practices for small businesses and how to contract with these businesses. They will be ultimately qualified, but this is not the purpose for this bill. So we urge a no vote.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on Amendment L007? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of Amendment L007. All in favor say aye. All opposed say no.
No!
No Noes have it. The noes have it. L007 is lost. Back to the committee report.
To the committee report. To the bill or back to the committee report? Okay. Because that was an amendment to it.
Is there any further discussion on the adoption of the committee report?
Okay.
Representative Van Winkle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And in the committee report, it defines fair procurement process and fair procurement as a process that prioritizes and includes one or more of the following: members of a racial or ethnic minority group, non-Hispanic Caucasian women, persons with physical or mental disabilities, members of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community, or veterans. And to me, I read that as including almost everyone, so who does that not include?
Representative Bacon.
Thank you for your question. As we discussed in committee, the purpose of this bill is to figure out how do we support historically underutilized businesses. And so the communities named in this bill are in alignment with the state's definition of that. And so we are just doing this to be able to continue on that work. So thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Van Winkle.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I didn't hear an answer to the question, but I mean, we're messing with the procurement process here is what we're doing. And it seems like we're actually ranking people by their sexual preference and their gender. That's dicey. I don't like it at all.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Catlin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
It is an honor to serve with you, Representative Catlin.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions. Is this study going to go across all communities? I have some frontier communities in my district. I have some small rural communities in my district that, they probably have a hard time filling a lot of contracts. Is this going to be focused mainly on urban communities, rural communities, frontier communities? Can you give me some examples of communities that you'll be running this pilot program?
Representative Froelich.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Wonderful to serve with you.
Wonderful to serve with you, Representative Froelich.
Members, we heard a wide variety of compelling testimony in committee on this bill. Many of the folks that were testifying were from rural and frontier communities, speaking about the need for the bill. And so I encourage a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion on the committee report? Representative Van Winkle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And the question by my colleague from rural Colorado just wasn't answered, so. Rural Colorado. Oh.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Van Winkle.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, maybe this is a question that can be answered. So veterans are in here as well, and veterans means persons who actively served in the United States Armed Forces and were discharged or released under the conditions other than dishonorable in accordance with USC Title 30. Unamended veterans include, and it includes members of the National Guard or as reserves. Now, does that include... How did we come up with that definition of veterans? Because other than dishonorable, I know there's bad conduct, there's other kinds of discharges.
Representative Bacon.
Thank you. We use this language as it's found throughout statute in the definition of veterans. We also entertained and approved an amendment to include the language around bad conduct that was proposed by Representative Pico. Thank you.
Representative Pico.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In committee, I did include that amendment. Bad conduct discharge is a valid discharge under less than honorable conditions, and it is for pretty bad stuff. So that's where it comes from.
Is there any further discussion on the Transportation and Local Government Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Transportation and Local Government Committee report. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. The committee report is adopted. To the bill, Representative Ricks.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The importance of this bill is that we are looking at small minority women-owned enterprises, also veteran businesses, and disabled businesses. We're looking to see all local governments across Colorado start to contract with these businesses. We know that when this money is spent with local businesses from Colorado, the money is also put into our economy and it turns over within our economy. They also do great work within our community to build up our communities. And currently with the pandemic, we know that over 2 million women have left the workforce. We want to bring women back. We need to encourage small minority women businesses and everyone who wants to get back into the workforce so that they can recover and we can have a strong economy. This bill will look at a pilot program and get the best practices from all of our local governments across the state, whether you're rural, frontier, or in the urban areas, to determine what is best, and hopefully then we can start contracting and making sure that our small businesses are getting contracts from local government. We urge a yes vote.
Thank you. Representative Bacon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, I just want to reiterate the purpose of this pilot. We worked in partnership with CML, CCI, and DOLA because there's a critical question across the state to which there is no guidance, nor is there a space for localities to collaborate, to find best practice, if not efficiencies, in being able to support historically underutilized businesses. After the state completed their disparity audit, they found two things. Not only is there a gap in local businesses, there is a gap in historically underutilized businesses having access to contracts, but also we found that there is some incredible work to be done about even sharing of these opportunities. The state also went on to say that investing in historically underutilized businesses are good for our communities. Businesses owned by women, our veterans, the disabled, and people of color tend to be local, and so it's important to use local dollars to go right back into the hands of our neighbors to strengthen our communities. In committee, we heard from folks who run local governments not only in the metro area but particularly in Alamosa. We heard from Cass Walker, who actually runs a rural women's collaborative, who's been working on this to figure out how they can get contracts and businesses as well. Too often contracts downstate.
Members, hold on, Representative Bacon. Members, please quiet down just a little, especially in the back. Thanks so much. Representative Bacon, please go on.
Yes, thank you. The last thing I just want to say is too often what we're seeing in our smaller communities and rural communities is that contracts go to bigger companies that are out of state. And so we're doing this to be able to support businesses and communities across the state. There's no fiscal note. CML and other localities have volunteered to do this, but we do need to focus particular questions to enter some guidance, so I urge an aye vote.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1168. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 1168 passes. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of Senate Bill 139.
Senate Bill 139 by Senators Fields and Simpson, also Representatives Lontine and Soper, concerning reimbursement for dental care services provided through telehealth.
Representative Lontine.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 139. There is no committee report.
To the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senate Bill 139 adds teledentistry to the covered telehealth services that in the bill that was run last year, Senate Bill 2212. And I asked for an aye vote, and I also know that my co-sponsor would like to say a few words, and he's on the screen over there. If you could please recognize him.
Representative Soper.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Representative Lontine and members. This exactly is what it is.
Okay.
It's a cleanup bill from last year, a bill that Representative Lontine and I ran. We didn't include dental services, so we're now including them. I know that many of you might be confused as to what can actually be done through dental services, actually quite a bit, as we learned in committee. We also realize that dentistry is also quite unique in medicine in the fact that so much is connected through your mouth to the rest of your body that it's really important to maintain good health of your teeth and gums, because that does affect everything from cardiovascular health to respiratory health as well. So this is very important for Coloradans to be able to have this parity and options to be able to do certain things remotely if they need to, if it's in the best interests of the patient.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Representative Baisley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I was the sole no vote in the committee on this. My concern was directing private industry on their practices. Having had a conversation with Representative Soper at length that evening, then I've come to realize that this was the piece of last year's broader telehealth bill that I voted for. And so this was left out and for a reason, but now this is being added in and it makes sense. So I am switching my position on this to a yes, so I will be supportive and a yes vote on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 139. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 139 passes. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of Senate Bill 192.
Senate Bill 192 by Senator Gonzalez, also Representative Lamabile, concerning permitting youthful offenders to be housed in the same facility as inmates who mentor youthful offenders.
Representative Amable.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senate Bill 192 allows for... I'd like to move Senate Bill 192.
Thank you. To the bill.
Okay, Senate Bill 192 allows the establishment of a mentorship program between youthful offenders and inmates in the adult prison who will mentor them. It's a good bill. It's going to help with recidivism, and it's also just going to help prisoners be more successful during their time in prison. I ask for a yes vote.
Thank you, Representative Amable. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 192. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 192 passes. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of Senate Bill 167.
Senate Bill 167 by Senators Holbert and Bridges, also Representatives Gray and Larson, concerning the regulation of child care centers.
Representative Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 167 in the Public Health Committee report.
Thank you. To the committee report. Representative Larson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So members, in the committee, we added a couple amendments. We changed some specific statute-oriented language, kicked it to rulemaking, which we just thought was more appropriate with regards to the ratios of children for emergency situations. And that is essentially what we did in committee. Also came out unanimously. I ask for a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Public and Behavioral Health and Human Services report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The report is adopted. To the bill. Representative Larson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, members, this is a pretty straightforward deregulation bill. It removes some duplicative regulations required for child care facilities that are taking place in places like charter schools, YMCAs, that sort of thing. Under current law, they're often required to get an inspection in health and safety for their original purpose and then an additional one for being a child care facility, even though it's literally the same structure. This really just cleans things up, streamlines it, received a unanimous vote in the Senate, received a unanimous vote in Public Health. Unfortunately, we did discover a grave error that my colleague, Representative Gray, will speak to, and I'm frankly embarrassed that such an atrocious thing happened in my bill.
Representative Gray.
Thank you. Yeah, we were talking all night last night about whether to move forward with this. It kind of changes the character of the bill in some significant ways. With that, I would move Amendment L013.
Amendment L013 has been moved and properly displayed. Representative Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Now, I know a lot of you are big fans of commas, and you think that they're very important parts of grammar, but in this case, we're going to switch the phrase 2.3, comma 2.6. It should actually be 2.3 and 2.6. So if you like ands better than commas, this is the amendment for you, and we would ask for your support.
Yeah.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Luck.
Okay, let's get involved.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to stand up for the comma right now because there is actually an instance where a war was averted as a result of a properly placed comma. So make sure to give commas their due. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Luck. Keeping the peace. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of Amendment L013. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. L013 is adopted. Back to the bill.
Yep.
Representative Larson.
Yep. Members, reiterate what I said before. Good common sense deregulation bill. Please vote yes.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 167 as amended. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Senate Bill 167 as amended is passed. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of Senate Bill 195.
Senate Bill 195 by Senator Story, also Representative Snyder and Soper, concerning permitting notarization of certain probate documents.
Representative Snyder.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And let me say what an extreme honor it is to serve with you.
Likewise, Representative.
Thank you. And with that, I would move Senate Bill 195.
To the bill.
And I will now turn it over to my esteemed co-prime sponsor, Representative Soper, who's on the big screen.
Representative Soper.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Representative Snyder. So Senate Bill 195 actually extends what we've been working on for a couple of years now, although the pandemic brought about it being more important this year. And that's the ability to do remote notarization of certain probate documents. So this is really just a cleanup bill as far as making sure all the different elements of law which lead to confusion are aligned so that there is no longer confusion. So this will include things like living wills and advance directives, organ donation forms, medical durable powers of attorneys. And under Senate Bill 195, it will enable Coloradans to execute these probate instruments by either notarization or witnessing. The bill will streamline the process to execute these probate instruments and align the execution statutes with last will and testament requirements, which were implemented by House Bill 09-1287, also known as CRS 15-11-502. And that was for Representative Weissman. But I certainly ask members for a yes vote on this. This is very good for Colorado. It moves us in the right direction, and it has the appropriate safeguards so that there's not abuse of the system as well. Thank you.
Representative Snyder.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Representative Soper, for that riveting explanation of Senate Bill 195. So members, this is the last in a long line of bills. This actually started prior to the pandemic, and we've had 3 different bar sections working hard on this, the trust and estate section, the elder law section, as well as the health law section. So it's been very well stakeholdered. It's really the last piece. You may remember Representative Soper and I ran one of the first bills of the year back in January, the electronic wills. This has had to be done separately because they come from different areas of the uniform law, but it really brings this into line with all the other electronic testamentary documents that we've done. And with that, I would ask for your yes vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 195. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 195 passes. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that the committee rise and report. Members don't go very far. We have a lot of work still to do. We just have to get out of general orders. So I move the committee rise and report.
You have heard the motion. Seeing no objection, the committee will rise and report.
The House will come back to order. Mr. Gregorio, please read the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Mr. Speaker, your Committee of the Whole begs leave to report it is under consideration. The following attached bills being the second reading thereof and makes the following recommendation thereon. House Bill 1168 is amended, passed on second reading, ordered, engrossed, and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 139, Senate Bill 167 is amended. Senate Bill 192, Senate Bill 195 passed on second reading and ordered, revised, and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 226 laid over until 4/30/2021 and retained their place on the calendar.
Representative Woodrow. You have heard the motion. There is one amendment at the desk. Mr. Gregorio, please read the PICO amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Representative Pico moved to amend the report of the Committee of the Whole to reverse the action taken by the committee, not adopting the following PICO amendment L007 to House Bill 211168 to show that said amendment passed and that House Bill 211168 is amended passed.
Representative Pico.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think this is an important amendment. It inserts the term qualified and ensures that a qualified business means a business that meets the technical qualifications for the contract being awarded, the documented record of past performance. This ensures that we're spending our money on businesses that are real, that actually meet the qualifications of what's being asked for them to do, and I ask for an aye vote.
Great. It was properly moved and displayed. Representative Bacon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I ask for a no vote.
Is there any further discussion on the PICO amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole? Seeing none, Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. All right. Representative Neville, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Neville votes yes. Representative Soper, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Soper votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
No.
Representative McLaughlin votes no. Representative D. Valdez. Representative D. Valdez is excused, but will come back and have a $5 fine. Please close the machine. With 20 aye votes, 42 no votes, 2 excused, and 1 vacancy, the PICO amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole is lost. There are no further amendments at the desk. The question before us is the adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Neville, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Neville votes no. Representative Soper, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Soper votes no. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Knowing the circumstances for why Representative D. Valdez is not here, I revoke that $5 fine. Representative Caraveo. Please close the machine. With 38 aye votes, 24 no votes, 2 excused, and 1 vacant, the report of the Committee of the Whole is adopted. Majority Leader Escar. And before we go to Madam Majority Leader, I'll go to Mr. Gregorio for reports of committees of reference.
Committee on Finance, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends following House Bill 1233 be amended as follows and be so amended to be referred to the Committee on Appropriations with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 178 be referred favorably to the Committee on Appropriations. Committee on Appropriations, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends following House Bill 1021 be amended as follows and be so amended to be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1050 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1069 be amended as follows and be so amended to be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1071 be amended as follows and be so amended to be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1073 be amended as follows and be so amended to be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1104 be amended as follows and be so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1027 be amended as follows and be so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1142 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1145 be amended as follows and be so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1140 be amended as follows and be so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1149 be amended as follows and be so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1200 be amended as follows and be so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1206 be amended as follows and be so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1248 be amended as follows and be so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 6 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 93 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 97 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 99 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 155 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Committee on Education, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends following. Senate Bill 13 be amended as follows and be so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1221 be amended as follows and be so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1273 be referred favorably to the Committee on Appropriations. Committee on Energy and Environment, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends following House Bill 1253 be referred to the Committee on Appropriations. House Bill 1266 be amended as follows and be so amended be referred to the Committee on Finance with favorable recommendation.
Woo! Mr. Gregorio, that was the best performance you have had as our reader, and I want you to know that you have a bright future as an auctioneer after you leave here. Nice work. Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to proceed out of... No? I just moved special orders today, April 23rd at 9:57 a.m. House Bill 1021, House Bill 1050, House Bill 1069, House Bill 1073, House Bill 1140, House Bill 1104, House Bill 1145, House Bill 1200, House Bill 1206, House Bill 1248, Senate Bill 93, Senate Bill 97, Senate Bill 99, Senate Bill 155. Members, these are all bills that came out of appropriations. I contacted you if you were a bill sponsor yesterday to verify that you'd be ready to go. The list is up here. The order will be numerical. There you go.
The motion is that the following bills read by the majority leader will be made special orders at 9:57 a.m. Seeing no objection, that will be so. Representative Woodrow. You have heard the motion. Representative Woodrow will take, seeing no objection, Representative Woodrow will take the chair.
The committee will come back to order. Again, with your unanimous consent, the bills will be read by title unless there is a request for reading a bill at length. Committee reports are printed in your bill folders. Floor amendments will be shown on the screen and in your iPads. Bills will be laid over upon motion of the majority leader, and the Coat rule is now going to be enforced with an iron fist. Just kidding. Just kidding. Coat rules relaxed. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of House Bill 1021.
House Bill 1021 by Representatives Pelton and Caraveo, all concerning supporting the peer support professional workforce.
Representative Caraveo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
It is an honor to serve with you.
I move House Bill 1021 and the Finance, Appropriations, and Public Health and Human Services Committee reports.
Thank you. To the Appropriations Report.
In the Appropriations Committee, we made an appropriation.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption or passage of the Appropriations Report. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Appropriations Report passes. To the Finance Report.
In the Finance Committee, we made an amendment giving OBH the opportunity to charge a fee, but do rulemaking around this fee. I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the Finance Report. All in favor say aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Finance Report passes. To the bill, Representative Caraveo.
Oh, is there not
Oh,
a
no,
public
no, no.
health?
My apologies.
Thank
To
you.
the Public and Behavioral Health Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In public health, we made a number of amendments that clarified treatment providers, the treatment program, OBH establishing competencies for training, and clarifying that this is a voluntary program. I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Public and Behavioral Health and Human Services report. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Public and Behavioral Health and Human Services report is adopted. To the bill, Representative Pelton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Peer support professionals they work in every care continuum from prevention, treatment, crisis, intervention, respite, and recovery. Whenever you have a problem, an addiction problem, or any kind of a problem, you go and talk to somebody that has gone through the same thing. That gives a lot of credibility because they've lived it. So that's what this bill does. It helps create the peer-run program, and it also enables it to charge for its services.
Any further discussion? Representative Amabile.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to say I have a son who I think you all know by now has schizoaffective disorder, and he has seen tens of psychiatrists. He has seen tons of therapists. He's been in the hospital. He's been in the homeless shelter. He has done, run the gamut. And the one thing that has made the biggest difference for him was when he met a peer support specialist. She takes his phone calls. She takes him to the store. She encourages him, and she shares her story. So when he was in legal trouble, she told him about the legal trouble that she was in. So the advice that she gives him is so much more meaningful for him than the advice that he gets from me or from his psychiatrist or his therapist. And I think we have to support these programs any which way and every way that we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Amabile. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1021. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 1021 passes. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of House Bill 1050.
House Bill 1050 by Representatives Gray and Van Winkle, also Senators Bridges and Cook, concerning the Workers' Compensation Act of Colorado and in connection therewith making changes that affect the timely payment of benefits, guardian and litem and conservator services, benefit offsets related to the recipient of federal disability or retirement benefits, the reduction of benefits based on an appointment of the selection of independent medical examiners, limits on temporary disability and permanent partial disability payments, the withdrawal of admissions of liability, mileage, expense reimbursement, the authority of pre-hearing administrative law judges, the reopening of permanent total disability awards, and petitions for review and appeals of orders.
En fuego. Representative Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move House Bill 1050 and the Business Affairs and Labor Committee report.
Thank you. To the committee report. Representative Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We just did a little bit of cleanup in committee, mostly about how parties provide notice to each other, and put one not after a May, which should have been May, not May. I'd ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Business Affairs and Labor report. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Business Affairs and Labor report is adopted. To the bill. Representative Van Winkle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. This bill has been several years in the making. It's been a conglomeration of all parties interested in workers' compensation, and this is a bill that everyone can agree upon, which is rare in the workers' compensation world. But it really does. It aims to reduce litigation, bring clarity to workers' compensation laws. Again, everyone is in agreement. It should speed up payments to injured workers, which is something very important. As we know, and maximize money going to workers instead of, no offense to the lawyers in the body, but to lawyers. So I ask for a yes vote.
Representative Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Representative Van Winkle sums it up very well. I would take a moment to recognize the hard work of our former colleague, Tracy Kraft-Tharp, who she and Representative Van Winkle have been working on this project for years. I came in the last 5 yards to take it across the goal line, but now Commissioner Kraft-Tharp, I just wanted to recognize all the work that she put into this and thank her for that as well. Ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1050. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 1050 passes. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of House Bill 1069.
House Bill 1069 by Representatives Carver and Roberts, also Senators Fields and Gardner, concerning enhancing the enforcement of crimes of sexual exploitation of a child.
Representative Carver.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move House Bill 21-1069 and the Appropriations Committee report.
Give me 1 second, Representative. Sorry, Representative Carver. To the report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In appropriations, we got funding. Ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Appropriations Committee report. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Appropriations Committee report is adopted. To the bill. Representative Carver.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This bill updates our criminal statute to take into account how the criminals are using the internet for commercial sexual exploitation of children. It also increases criminal penalties. Ask for an aye vote.
Representative Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, I also ask for an aye vote, of course. I want to thank Representative Carver for her tireless work on this. This is a bill that's a long time coming. We haven't updated our statutes in this area of the law in several decades, and we are woefully behind technology in trying to protect our children. This is a very important bill, and I'm very happy to be on it with Representative Carver. I'd ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1069. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 1069 passes. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of House Bill 1073.
House Bill 1073 by Representatives Van Bever and Michelson Janae, also Senators Moreno and Kirkmeyer, concerning the creation of a Support Foster Families license plate.
Representative Van Bever.
Thank you. We too passed appropriations. Matt, you have to move the bill on the committee report.
Thank you. Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Representative Michelson Janae.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We move House Bill 1073 and the committee report.
Thank you. To the committee report. Representative Michelson Janae.
Thank you, sir. In appropriations, they added the appropriations clause.
Nice. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Appropriations Committee report. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Appropriations Committee report is adopted. To the bill.
Raise your hand, just talk about the bill.
Representative Van Bever.
Thank you, Chair. We passed appropriations. This is a good bill. Obviously, our mutual love of foster care is an exciting support to this bill, so I ask that you vote yes.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, members, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1073. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 1073 passes. Mr. Gregorio, moving right along, please read the title of House Bill 1104.
House Bill 1104 by Representatives Larson and McLaughlin, also Senator Lundeen, concerning extending the renewal period for professional educator licenses from 5 to 7 years.
Representative Larson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's an honor to serve with you. I move House Bill 1104 and the Education Committee report. And approves.
Thank you. To the Appropriations Committee report.
Members, so they appropriated some money in appropriations. I did want to give a little bit of clarity here because I've had a few members ask for some clarification. So what this bill does at its core is it changes our renewal licensure period for all educator licenses. That includes teachers, principals, as well as education support professionals. Right now, those are all on 5-year renewal cycles. What this bill does is it changes that to 7-year renewal cycles and gives people that are in the middle of their renewal cycle an additional 2 years to complete. So this is a huge relief to educators who, frankly, are facing the end of their renewal cycle right now. With COVID and everything else going on, it's been tremendously difficult to get continuing education requirements. But what it does create is a 2-year, essentially, black hole of revenue, because this is a cash-funded purpose normally where people paying their renewal fees or their registration fees funds the purposes of the licensure period. So we're talking about, enforcement, investigation, renewals. These things won't all disappear simply because we're moving to a 7-year period rather than a 5-year period, but there will be very diminished revenue over the next 2 years because there won't be any renewals. So what we are doing is a one-time transfer of funds from the general fund into what is normally a cash-funded program. This is money that is set aside already in the state stimulus to continue those programs for the 2 years while we're going to have this diminished amount of revenue. On the whole, this is going to save the state money. It is going to reduce revenues by about $300,000 is the estimate in the fiscal note per year going forward from where we are now. But we have to solve this temporary 2-year gap because there are still activities related to licensure, investigations, adjudications, all these sorts of things that have to be paid for in the next 2 years, but we are not going to collect any money. Or we're going to collect very little money because essentially the only revenues will be for new licenses, but any renewed license won't be happening. So that is what we are doing with the appropriation, and that is what we did in the Appropriations Committee. So with that, I ask for a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, members, the question before us is the passage of the Appropriations Committee report. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Appropriations report is adopted. To the Education Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So in the Education Committee, we added an amendment that essentially set up exactly what I talked to you about, basically getting the appropriations ready. Because this was cash funded before, we had to actually allow for a general fund appropriation into this purpose. And that's what we did in the Education report or committee, and I asked for a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the Education Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Education Committee report is adopted. To the bill, Representative Larson.
And thank you, Mr. Chair. So I think you've heard quite enough from me. I will hand it over to my illustrious co-prime, Representative McLaughlin, on the big screen.
Everyone agrees. Representative McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's a pleasure to serve with you, and it's been a pleasure to serve with or to work with Representative Larson on this bill. He explained everything exactly perfectly, and all I can say is it's a good bill. Vote yes. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, members, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1104. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. 1104 is passed. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of House Bill 1140.
House Bill 1140 by Representative Titone, also Senator Quorum, concerning the elimination of costs associated with living organ donation for a living organ donor.
Representative Titone.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
It is an honor to serve with you.
All right, thank you. I move House Bill 1140 and the Appropriations Report.
And a Health and Insurance report.
And the Health and Insurance Report.
Sounds great. To the Appropriations Committee report.
All right, in appropriations this morning, we appropriated some money. I ask for a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Appropriations Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Appropriations report is adopted. To the Health and Insurance report.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. We had a very small amendment, just a technical fix. Ask for a yes vote on the committee report.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Health and Insurance report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Health and Insurance report is adopted. Representative Titone to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. All right, House Bill 1140. This bill is about living organ donors, and these are really important people who give basically the gift of life to people who need it most. So we heard from a person in committee, in the Health and Insurance Committee, who wanted to give his kidney, and he went through the process of doing it, and he ended up getting a lot of bills for it. He was actually billed by the insurance company for it, even though he wasn't. And they went after him, and it wasted a lot of his time trying to fight the insurance company on a bill he should never even gotten in the first place. This bill really just puts into statute what should be in statute already, that you can't bill somebody for the things that go into giving an organ. There's a lot of things like testing and psychology and things like that. We shouldn't put any barrier in front of anybody who wants to donate an organ. They're giving the precious gift of life, and we should make it as easy as possible for them. And for that reason, I ask for a yes vote.
Thank you, Representative Tone. Is there any further discussion? All right, members, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1104. All those in favor say aye. Pardon? 1140. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. 1140 passes. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of House Bill 1145.
House Bill 1145 by Representatives Kipp and Soper, also Senators Jaquez, Lewis, and Simpson, concerning the creation of a special license plate to support pollinators.
Representative Kipp.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's a pleasure to serve with you.
Pleasure to serve with you.
Okay, well, today, my co-prime, thank you, Representative Soper, for joining me on this bill, and myself are here to present to you the amazing pollinator license plate bill. So with that, I know you guys have all heard a lot of buzz about this bill, and there is honey on your desk this morning that comes to you from Peapan and B Squared Honey. But I have an actual sort of mock-up over on my chair, but I do believe we have a photo, and I need to move the bill. Okay, first, let me move the bill. I move HB 21-1145 and the Energy Environment Committee report.
And the appropriations report.
Oh, and the appropriations report.
Thank you. The mock-up has been displayed to the appropriations report.
To the appropriations report. Well, the appropriations report appropriated a little bit of money, not a whole lot, to work on this license plate bill.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Appropriations Committee report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. The appropriations report is adopted. To the health and insurance report. No, to the energy and environment report.
My co-prime may wish to discuss that.
Representative Soper.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. In energy and environment, we adopted one amendment. The amendment actually made this really a bill where it is about the license plate, it's about education, and about educating Coloradans about the importance of pollinators. And I would urge the adoption of the committee report.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us, members, is the adoption of the Energy and Environment Report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. The Energy and Environment Report passes. Representative Kipp to the bill.
Thank you. Well, as I said, this is an unbelievable bill that is sweet as honey. There has been a lot of buzz about it. I actually have a lot of people who've asked me, when is this bill going to get passed? Because I want to get one of those plates. This is an opportunity for people throughout Colorado to be the change. And I really think that it will take the sting out of another license plate bill, which I know there's a lot of license plate bills. But I have personally fallen victim to the license plate bug. So I would be beholden to you if you would pass my bill. But I would like to thank Representative Soper for being on this bill with me, and I know he has some remarks as well.
Behave yourself, Representative. Any further discussion? Representative Pico.
Can we have that?
Oh, Representative Soper.
Oh, merci. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate being able to say a few words about my bill. Some really important things, and I'll save the puns. Representative Kipp was awesome. But Colorado is home to 946 bee species in 66 different genres. And since 1906, Colorado has maintained a Colorado State Bee List where we've been inventorying and researching and classifying bees. I believe it's housed at CSU, and they have something like over 30,000 taxidermied bees there, where we continue to learn more about the bee. The bee is probably one of the insects, and I know pollinators are more than bees, but I'm going to get to why bees are so important to Colorado. But it's one of those things where we continue to learn a lot about the bee. I mean, their communication is very advanced for being an insect. They, certainly work as a unit, and they're just really fascinating. Colorado bees range in size from 3.5 millimeters to 26.6 millimeters. We have more bee diversity than every single U.S. state east of the Mississippi River combined, and we have the 5th most bee diversity in all of North America. As a matter of fact, within the United States, our rival for diversity really is only California, and that's just because of the diverse flora. Michigan State University conducted a national research study, and they found that if there is a decline in natural pollinators, such as, say, wild bees, it's a direct correlation to decrease in crop yield. And coming from a part of the state where we're known for our peaches, sweet corn, grapes for making wine, certainly you see a lot of beehives out in the orchards or in the vineyards or in your fields, because that's very much about increasing crop yield and ensuring that you have enough pollinators present to be able to deliver the agricultural products that Western Colorado and our entire state is famous for. I believe this bill is important to remind Coloradans of the importance of pollinators and bees, because after all, that is a key element when it comes to our agricultural heritage of our state. Certainly the bee itself represents something far greater, because when Napoleon had the opportunity to choose a logo for the French Empire, I have to get something French in here, he chose the bee, and so did Constantine the Great. And that's just because of, the bee can produce honey, which we consume, but it also increases crop yields, which can feed a nation or a great state like Colorado. So I believe this is an important bill to be able to educate Coloradans. I don't normally get involved with license plate bills, but I felt this was a great opportunity here. And hopefully these facts have not been a buzzkill for this. So I'd encourage a yes vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Soper. Very sweet of you to comb through that data. Representative Kipp.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate you being in the spirit of this bill. I do want to mention, because somebody else mentioned something that I myself noticed, that right at the moment, it does look a little bit like a turkey. It is not a turkey, it's a bee, but they are actually still working on the colors of I think if they make the flower paler, it will make the bee colors pop. So do not expect it to look exactly like this, but it is not a turkey. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Representative Pico.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I fly in support of this bill. It's a honey of a sweet deal.
Thank you. Representative Pelton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I can't fly and give puns like all these other people. I'm wondering if these license plates have a supernatural power to let the pollinators know a car is coming and they get out of the way.
Rhetorical question of the bill sponsor. Representative Titone.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To be or not to be, I've fallen in love with this bill. It really calls on the hive mind. And this bill is hot like wasabi. And I think members are going to swarm to this one, but I'm not going to bumble around anymore. This bill is meant to be, and this politician's voting yes, and I urge you to as well.
Woo! All right. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Representative Herod.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and this is why Titone has won the award of the day. And does everyone agree with me that we have the funniest person in the chamber right here with the puns for the pollinators? Great job. Great job.
Is there any further discussion, members? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1145. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say bzzz. The ayes have it. 1145 passes. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of House Bill 1200.
House Bill 1200 by Representatives Kipp and Rich, also Senators Bridges and Lundin, concerning financial literacy standards for public schools.
Representative Rich.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move House Bill 1200 and the appropriations report.
Thank you. To the appropriations report. Representative Rich.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The appropriations report appropriated $4,888. I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Kipp.
Oh, I'm sorry, not on the report.
Is there any further discussion? Members, the question before us is the adoption of the Appropriations Committee report. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The appropriations report is as adopted. To the bill, Representative Kipp.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is a bill that's actually been in the works for a couple of years. Last year, it actually made it all the way through the Senate before the pandemic hit. But really, I have not heard of anybody who is opposed to this bill. Everybody keeps on saying, oh my gosh, that's such a great bill, you got to get it passed. Because what it does is it improves the personal financial literacy standards for our K-12 kids to make sure that they are getting information they need about financial literacy. We want kids to know how to pay for college. We want to know about the cost of college. We want them to know about how to buy a house. We want them to know about credit card and credit card debt. We want them to know about all of the, and how to save for retirement. We want them to know about all of these major things. So I really am grateful to Representative Rich for joining me on this bill because I think it's a greatly needed bill and I really appreciate the bipartisan support.
Representative Rich.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Representative Kipp, for inviting me to be on this bill. This bill will empower students with critical financial literacy knowledge they need to make a dramatic impact on our communities. The benefits of financial literacy are clear, and the bill ensures that students are equipped with the knowledge they need to make sound financial decisions. So let's set our students up for success and vote aye. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, members, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1200. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. 1200 passes. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of House Bill 1206.
House Bill 1206 by Representatives Larson and Valdez, also Senators Moreno and Quorum, concerning the protection of critical services through the creation of sustainable Medicaid transportation safety requirements.
Representative Larson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's an honor to serve with you, and I move House Bill 1206, the Health and Insurance Committee report, and the Appropriations report.
Thank you. To the Appropriations report. Representative Larson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Appropriations graciously spent some money, and we would like to use it, so please vote yes.
Is there any further discussion? Members, the question before us is the adoption of the Appropriations Committee report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. The Appropriations report passes. To the Health and Insurance report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So in the Health and Insurance report, we added one amendment that was at the request of some stakeholdering. This would clarify that if a provider of transportation services is already complying with regulations under the PUC, that they will not have to the extent possible, duplicate the same application requirements and same standards that they're currently complying with under PUC, since we're now moving this to the HCPUF. And I vote yes. Sorry.
Yes. I also urge an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Health and Insurance report. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Health and Insurance report passes. Representative Bababooey.
Hey, now.
Hey now.
It's an honor to serve with you, Mr. Chair.
It is an honor to serve with you, Baba
This is a
Booey.
great bill, folks. This really is going to enable folks that have intellectual and developmental disabilities to find transportation to their everyday needs, getting to the store, getting to doctor's appointments, getting to work, all of the things that we take for granted as folks that can just hop in a car and go. So this is a great opportunity, a great bipartisan bill that helps us to keep folks moving and lower a little bit of regulatory barrier to companies that are serving these populations that really need to be mobile.
Representative Larson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you to my co-prime for that wonderful explanation. So members, just by a little bit of way background, this bill is necessary because what happened is a few years ago we passed a bill before I was in this chamber that was designed to put a little bit more safety, some safeguards on people who provide transportation for non-emergency medical purposes. So these are oftentimes, not exclusively, but most of the time we're talking about adults with developmental disabilities or physical disabilities. They rely on these services to get to either day programs, get to their jobs, or indeed get to routine checkups. Unfortunately, when we moved that over, they were originally being regulated under the Public Utility Commission, which regulates all manner of transport in the state. The regulations that they initially proposed would be so onerous and burdensome to many of these small operators where we're really frankly talking about a van with somebody who's driving through a neighborhood picking up a few individuals. The requirements that they came up with initially would frankly be cost prohibitive and would have effectively ended transportation for thousands of people across the state, depriving them of employment and their ability to get to day centers. So we worked diligently with both that department and we decided that moving it to HCPF for the regulation of this particular transportation service would really be a better fit. HCPF deals with this population quite a bit because obviously it's a Medicaid waiver program for the most part. So that's going to hopefully get a more right-sized regulation, still maintain safety, but allowing for these programs to continue to operate and get people to their jobs and to their day programs. We do also have a second reading amendment that I would like to move and offer right now, so that is Amendment L002, and I ask that it be displayed.
L002 has been displayed to the amendment.
Yes. And so this amendment was also done in consultation with some of the transportation network companies. So thinking Uber, Lyft, those sorts of folks. It's essentially laying the groundwork so that some of these companies may be able to provide these services in the future as they do in many other states. This is just clarifying some of the definitions so that if we come back, that they won't be falling victim essentially to the same problem that we are trying to fix here if in the future we are able to expand these services and allow some of these companies to compete in this space. So I would ask for a yes vote.
Representative Fafafui.
Hey now, this is a great amendment, folks, because it makes this bill future ready, and so we would ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, hey now, the question before us is the adoption of L002. All in favor say aye. All opposed no. The ayes have it. L002 passes. Representative Bababui.
Fafafui. Here we go, folks. Great bill. Vote yes.
Any further discussion? No. Seeing none, members, the question before us is the adoption and passage of House Bill 1206. All in favor say aye, as amended. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed no. The ayes have it. 1206 as amended passes.
Hey now.
Hey now. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of House Bill 1248.
House Bill 1248 by Representative Amabile, also Senators Story and Heisey, concerning updating the provisions of the Colorado Children's Trust Fund Act.
Representative Amabile.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move I want to move them all. The appropriations report, the Public and Behavioral Health and Human Services report, and the bill, House Bill 1248.
To the appropriations report, Representative Amabile.
Yes, so we made an appropriation in appropriations less than $1,000.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the appropriations report. All in favor say aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. The appropriations report passes. To the Public and Behavioral Health and Human Services report. Representative Amabile.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In Public and Behavioral Health and Human Services, we've made a couple of cleanup amendments, giving greater definition to trauma and neighborhoods and communities.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, members, the question before us is the passage of the Public and Behavioral Health and Human Services report. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Public and Behavioral Health and Human Services report passes. To the bill, Representative Amabile.
Thank you. So the bill is about preventing child maltreatment before it happens. So getting at the root causes of child maltreatment. It renames the Colorado Children's Trust Fund to the Child Abuse Prevention Trust Fund, and it expands the board from 9 members to 17, and it includes the heads of various departments that deal with child maltreatment. It also includes 3 people with lived experience, and this is something that I feel has been lacking on a lot of our boards, is we haven't included people who have had these experiences and know what programs work and what programs don't work. And it also includes 2 legislators, one from the House and one from the Senate. And the board is charged with discussions and bringing people together and trying to get at root causes. It's a great bill, and I urge you to vote yes.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1248. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. 1248 passes. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of Senate Bill 93.
Senate Bill 93 by Senator Bridges, also Representative Lontine, concerning the continuation of the Healthcare-Associated Infections and Antimicrobial Resistance Advisory Committee and in connection therewith implementing the recommendation in the 2020 Census Report by the Department of Regulatory Agencies.
Representative Lontine.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 93. There is no committee report.
To the bill.
Senate Bill 93 is the sunset of the Healthcare Associated Infections and Antimicrobial Resistance Advisory Committee. And the sunset report found that they wanted to repeal the sunset and just make this an ongoing committee indefinitely. And I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, members, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 93. All of those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. 93 passes. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of Senate Bill 97.
Senate Bill 97 by Senators Garcia and Smallwood, also Representatives Caraveo and Williams, concerning the continuation of the Michael Slocum Medical Transparency Act of 2010 and in connection therewith implementing the recommendation contained in the 2020 Census Report by the Department of Regulatory Agencies.
Because you did a great job last time.
Representative Dr. Caraveo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 97.
To the bill.
So the Michael Skolnick Act originally passed in 2007 and was expanded in 2010 and allows anyone to look up the profile of a healthcare provider covered by the bill. That makes up 268,000 healthcare practitioners across 29 professions and more than 65 license types. And it really helps patients make informed decisions when it comes to choosing a practitioner or provider.
Representative Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, that pretty much covers it in committee. We went over a little bit more in depth, but basically this provides transparency and accountability to patients who are seeking care from healthcare providers. This is a great bill. It's been passed many times through the sunset process, and this is something that we should continue doing for the benefit of Coloradans who want to get great health care. So please vote yes.
Is there any further discussion? All right, seeing none, members, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 97. All in favor say aye. All opposed, no. The ayes and oinks have it. Senate Bill 97 passes. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of Senate Bill 99.
Senate Bill 99 by Senator Danielson, also Representatives Young and Van Beber, concerning the continuation of the Assistance Program for Disability Benefits under the Laura Hershey Disability Support Act and in connection therewith implementing the recommendation contained in the 2020 Census Report by the Department of Regulatory Agencies.
Representative Young.
It is an honor to serve with you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 21099 and the Appropriations Report.
It is an honor to serve with you, Representative. To the Appropriations Committee. There is no Appropriations Committee report. To the bill.
The Laura Hershey Disability Support Act was a result of House Bill 161362 when two previous existing committees were combined to form the Colorado Disability Funding Committee with two purposes: to fund new and innovative programs to increase independence and the quality of life for persons with disabilities, and to aid persons with disabilities in accessing disability benefits. The committee is authorized to utilize license plates, registrations via an auction. In June of 2020, staffing for the committee was moved from the Department of Personnel and Administration to the Office of the Lieutenant Governor through an interagency agreement. This gives more prominence and the opportunity to increase revenues and grants.
Representative Van Beber.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This bill implements the recommendation of DORA that this sunset bill continue for another 5 years. This continues the Colorado Disability Funding Committee, which will auction motor vehicle license plate numbers to raise money to aid persons with disabilities in accessing disability benefits. If you like auctions, you might want to check this out. I hear there are Bronco plates to be auctioned off this year. Good bill, vote yes.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 99. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 99 passes. Mr. Gregorio, would you be so kind as to read the title of Senate Bill 155?
Senate Bill 155 by Senators Heisey and Story, also Representatives Amabile and Baisley, concerning the appointment of a resident of a locality in which limited gaming takes place to the Limited Gaming Control Commission.
Representative Amabile.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to move everything at once. I move the committee report from the House Appropriations Committee, and I move the committee report on transportation and local government, and I move Senate Bill 21-155.
There is no Appropriations Committee report, so please to the Transportation and Local Government report. Representative Amabile.
Okay, so this bill has gone round and round and up and down, and the amendment that we passed in Transportation and Local Government amended the bill back to a 5-member committee and made some changes to what these members can do. And when I speak to the bill, I'll share that.
Is there any further discussion on the Transportation and Local Government Committee report? Seeing none, members, the question before us is the passage of the Transportation and Local Government Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The Transportation and Local Government report passes. To the bill, Representative Baisley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So there is a Limited Gaming Control Commission where the members are, of course, appointed by the governor. But traditionally, or historically, there's never been members on that commission from the directly affected counties of Gilpin, that my colleague, Representative Amabile, represents, nor Teller County, that I represent. So this encourages the governor to ensure that residents of those two counties where the games all take place have a seat on that commission. So that's the intent of this bill.
Representative Amabile.
So the bill is in keeping with my earlier thought that the people who are the most impacted should have a seat at the table, and that is what this bill does. I urge an aye vote.
Thank you, Representative Amabile. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, members, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 155. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 155 passes. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
It is an honor to serve with you, Madam Majority Leader.
I move that the committee rise and report.
You have heard the motion. Seeing no objection, the committee will rise and report.
The House will come to order. Mr. Gregorio, please read the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Mr. Speaker, your Committee of the Whole begs leave to report it is under consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof, and makes the following recommendations thereon. House Bill 1021 is amended, House Bill 1050 is amended, House Bill 1069 is amended, House Bill 1073 is amended, House Bill 1104 is amended, House Bill 1140 is amended, House Bill 1145 is amended, House Bill 1200 is amended, House Bill 1206 is amended, House Bill 1248 is amended, passed on second reading and ordered, engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 93, Senate Bill 97, Senate Bill 99, Senate Bill 155 is amended, passed on second reading and ordered, revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage.
Representative Woodrow. Members, you have heard the motion. There are no amendments at the desk. The question before us is the adoption of the report of the committee of the whole. Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Neville, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Neville votes no. Representative Soper, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Soper votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Please close the machine. With 40 aye votes, 22 no votes, 2 excused, and 1 vacancy, the report of the committee of the whole is adopted. Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that we suspend the rules for immediate consideration of Senate Joint Resolution 17.
I think, right before we get to that, let's have Mr. Gregorio read the message from the Senate.
Message from the Senate, Mr. Speaker.
Message from the Senate will be buried deep in the journal, Carl. Introduction of resolution.
SJR 21-017 by Senator Moreno, also Representative Escar, concerning the Colorado Day of Remembrance of the Armenian Genocide on April 26, 2021.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now I move that we suspend the rules for immediate consideration of Senate Joint Resolution 17.
You have heard the motion. Seeing no objection, the rules will be suspended for immediate consideration of Senate Joint Resolution 17. Mr.
No.
Yeah, okay. Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move Senate Joint Resolution 17 and ask that it be read at length.
Whereas this year marks the 106th anniversary of the first genocide of the 20th century, the Armenian Genocide, when 1.5 million men, women, and children of Armenian descent were victims of a brutal genocide perpetrated by the Turkish Ottoman Empire from 1915 to 1923. And whereas, as a result, there are fewer than 75,000 indigenous Armenians living within the borders of modern Turkey today. And whereas the contemporary United States ambassador to the Ottoman Empire, Henry Morgenthau Sr., stated in 1915, "Whatever crimes the most perverted instincts of the human mind can devise, and whatever refinements of persecutions and injustice the most debased imagination can conceive, become the daily misfortunes of this devoted people." And whereas the killing of Armenian people was followed by the systemic destruction of many of the world's oldest churches, cathedrals, and crossstones, as well as schools, libraries, treasures of art, and cultural monuments that continues to this day in an attempt to eliminate all traces of a noble civilization with a history of more than 3,000 years. And whereas Colorado newspapers widely reported the extermination of the Armenian people, and the Colorado communities generously raised funds to assist the survivors, known at the time as the Starving Armenians, as illustrated in the January 16, 1919 Denver Post front page story titled, "Campaign for Armenian Relief is Making Splendid Headway," and a July 30th, 1922 Denver Post front page story titled, $60 million from the U.S. keeps Armenians from extinction. And whereas, in response to the genocide at the behest of President Woodrow Wilson and the U.S. State Department, the Near East Relief Organization was founded and became the first congressionally sanctioned American philanthropic effort created exclusively to provide humanitarian assistance and rescue the Armenian nation and other Christian minorities from annihilation. And many of those rescued went on to survive, revive, and thrive outside of their general ancestral homeland, all over the world, and specifically in the state of Colorado. And whereas Near East Relief succeeded with the active participation of many Coloradans, including Governor Oliver Shoup, who concurrently served as the Colorado State Chairman for Near East Relief in delivering $117 million of assistance and saving more than 1 million refugees, including 132,000 orphans, between 1915 and 1930 by delivering food, clothing, and materials for shelter and setting up refugee camps, clinics, hospitals, and orphanage. And whereas Turkey's ongoing denial of the Armenian genocide paved the way for another tragedy in late 2020, when Turkey-aided Azerbaijan invaded the Republic of Artsakh, a region of the Armenian homeland, in an onslaught that despite a ceasefire announcement continues through this day, through Azerbaijan's unwillingness to release nearly 200 Armenian prisoners of war, forbiddance of the return of the Armenian refugees to Hedrat and other occupied regions of Aksra, and refusal of international missions to monitor the nearly 1,500 antique and medieval Armenian cultural sites that have recently come under Azerbaijan's control. And whereas each April, Armenians throughout the world honor their martyrs and commemorate the Armenian genocide, a term first used by Ralph Lemkin, the legal scholar who coined the word genocide and drafted the United Nations Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of Crime of Genocide, explaining on CBS television in 1949 that he became interested in genocide because it happened to the Armenians and their criminals were not punished. And whereas we commend Armenians of Colorado, Inc., the Colorado Coalition for Genocide Awareness and Action, and other human rights organizations for their ongoing efforts to bring awareness and to educate the community, including our youth, about the Armenian genocide. It is illustrated in the production of Emmy Award-winning composer Dennis Gattolini's I Am Alive musical. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the state of the 73rd General Assembly of the State of Colorado, the House of Representatives concurring herein, that we pause in our deliberations to commemorate the 106th anniversary of the Armenian genocide, which will be formally recognized at a memorial service at 5 p.m. on Saturday, April 24th, 2021, at the Armenian Garden established in 1982 in the northeast quadrant on the state capitol grounds, with a memorial plaque, and renovated and renewed in 2015 with the addition of the Klakchar Memorial, a replica of a destroyed medieval Armenian headstone. That we, the members of the Colorado General Assembly, hereby acknowledge April 26, 2021, and April 26 of each year thereafter as Colorado Day of Remembrance of the Armenian Genocide, and that we express support for efforts towards constructive and durable relations between the country of Armenia, the homeland for the Armenian people, and its neighbors, based upon acknowledgement of the facts and ongoing consequences of the Armenian Genocide, and a fair and just and comprehensive international resolution of this crime against humanity.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Mr. Gregorio, for reading that. And members, please feel free to sit. Thank you so much for standing for that resolution. I know it's long, and I also know that the language is a bit different this year because of the current dispute right now between Armenia and Azerbaijan. The Armenian community is feeling very vulnerable because of their lost territory and access to historical sites. So I feel that it's important that we stand with them and have that conversation. But as a state legislature, I feel like we need to be cautious about getting involved in international affairs because we're not designed or equipped to really discuss those issues here on the state floor. But I didn't want to stop that from us honoring and remembering the genocide. This is personal for me. When I first was elected, the first year I served was in 2015, and that was one of the years that we celebrated the 100th anniversary of the genocide. And I didn't know much about it, I'll be honest with you. All I knew is a few years earlier, when I was working as a community organizer with the Colorado Progressive Coalition, a great dear friend of mine, Stephanie, was Armenian. And she brought up the fact that people don't know about this Armenian genocide. They don't understand what it is. They don't even know that it happened. And I was ashamed to tell her, I don't know what you're talking about. She took the time to teach me and help me understand. I shared that story here in the well in 2015. In 2019, because of sharing that story, the Armenian National Committee hosted a delegation of state legislators on a study trip to Armenia. And I was honored to have been able to go. We met with a number of government and civil society reps, and I have two pictures I'd like to put up because it connects Armenia directly back to this chamber. At the Armenian Genocide Memorial Complex, there's a whole swath of trees. These are trees that are planted. They're memorial trees planted by dignitaries who have visited Armenia and who have stopped in to visit here. You can't see the placard very well, but it talks about that this is Senator Moreno and I planting a tree on behalf of the state of Colorado, which is on behalf of you all as well. So we have a tree in the garden on behalf of Colorado to show our support for the many Armenians who lost their lives. So for me to be able to bring this tribute to the floor again, I thank you so, or not tribute, this proclamation, resolution, I'll get it right. pregnancy brain is a real thing. I just want to thank you all so much for taking the time, not just this year, but every year, to talk about the importance of what happened, to talk about the reality of what happened. And I'm so proud to say that in 2020, this body actually made sure we passed a law that helped make sure our students understand and learn about what happened. So when they're in their 20s, or I guess I should say 30s is when I learned about it, they learn about it at a younger age and have that empathy, and it can help connect the dots between the genocide that happened in Armenia and the Holocaust that happened, and making sure that those types of events never happen again. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your indulgence in listening to this and taking that space. If you are around this weekend, they will be here on the Capitol grounds on the northeast corner. If you haven't seen the amazing space that we have created over there to honor the Armenians, please take a time, sometime during your day, to stop by and take a look at that. And here in the House Gallery, we are also joined by two guests, my dear friend Simon, and we have the president of the Armenians of Colorado, Mr. Yereman, also here with us in the gallery today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Majority Leader Eskar. Madam Speaker Pro Tem Benavides and Representative Beacon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I just wanted to get up and join the remarks that our Majority Leader said. But to know this isn't just a historical situation, that this happened in the last century, many years ago, and we as a body did stand up and condemn the genocide, as the Majority Leader said. But this is continuing. And we, as members of this body, have a duty to speak out against atrocities like this, against human rights violation, and yes, against genocide. We have to make it clear that we support Armenians and send a clear message to Azerbaijan and their supporters like Turkey. We have to stop making decisions in this country based only on our political interests. We have to make our voice heard when people are being slaughtered, when genocide is being undertaken right now. It is not a situation that is past. One of our former colleagues, Representative Cole Wist, whose family had Armenians in his family, was a strong supporter of this and recently wrote an editorial in the Denver Post about this and the ongoing genocide being undertaken there. So I strongly support this, and I think all of us need to demand the same from our federal colleagues, because they are considering this as well. We have to move on this. We have to speak up for these human rights violations. So I strongly support this.
Representative Bacon.
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you again to Simon McGuckian, who is a proud resident of Northeast Denver and House District 7. Thank you so much for sharing with us and our communities to be able to open our eyes to understand the basics to humanity, and that we are all parents, sons, daughters, brothers, sisters, and loved ones, and that humanity in general has a deep sense of wanting to belong. And so thank you for bringing those insights to our community. Thank you for bringing them here to the floor of Colorado, and we will do our part to support you in sharing your stories as well. Thank you.
Representative Michelson Janae and Representative Sirota.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last year, as the Majority Leader mentioned, was it last year? Oh my goodness. Representative Sirota and I were fortunate enough to be able to carry the piece of legislation that will make sure that this genocide, the Armenian genocide, is taught about in our schools. We had the support of Representative Eskar, who had her own personal, or Madam Majority Leader, who had her own personal experiences and connections. And as a woman whose family was so decimated in the Holocaust, there is often a saying or the conversation, a question, if the Armenian genocide had been stopped, could the Holocaust have been stopped too? And I'm grateful for the Armenian community for always giving us the opportunity to honor and remember their loss and hopefully to work together to stop the situation going on right now.
Representative Sirota.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I appreciate the resolution and the remarks of my colleagues and share those feelings, and welcome to our guests today to hear the resolution being read. And I am so grateful to have had the opportunity to carry the bill to ensure that our students are educated on the Holocaust, the Armenian genocide, and to know that that is part of the ongoing work that we do, that we have resolutions to ensure that we are bringing these issues to light, but that there are many ways in which we must work to ensure that genocide does not continue in the world. And one of those important ways and ongoing work that we continue to do is to ensure that our kids are being taught, that they are developing tools to speak up, to stand out, to recognize hate and bigotry and violence in the world, and to know how and when to use their voice and their positions of power to shape the future trajectory of our world. And so I'm grateful to be a part of that ongoing effort, and I thank everyone here in the chamber who also supported that work so strongly, and know that it is ongoing and in our communities across Colorado now.
Thanks to both of you. Representative Judah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I also stand in support, and thank you, Madam Majority Leader, for bringing this. The senseless killing of anyone is wrong. It is exceptionally wrong when it is done based on ethnicity or your religion, your nationality, or the color of your skin. And standing in support with Armenian brothers and sisters is how we put an end to this kind of stuff. The reality is that when we experience a genocide, it reverberates through community and throughout our globe. And I want to personally thank Simon for highlighting how also Muslims and Muslim relics and Islamic holy sites were also affected during this atrocity, and recognizing that, again, when things like this happen, it doesn't just affect one group of people, it affects all of us as a human race. So thank you again.
Thank you, Representative Judah. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of Senate Joint Resolution 17. Any objection to a voice vote? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Joint Resolution 17 is adopted. Majority Leader Eskar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask that the morning roll call be added as co-sponsors.
Great. Seeing no objection, the morning roll call will be added as co-sponsors. Majority Leader Eskar. Up to you. The next order of business, well, let's make sure that we're on track. The next order of business is consideration of Senate amendments to House bills. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of the House Bill 1057.
House Bill 1057 by Representatives Roberts and Tipper, also Senators Cook and Rodriguez, concerning a prohibition against the extortion of immigrants for engaging in lawful acts.
Representative Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative Tipper and I move that the House concur with Senate amendments to House Bill 1057.
Now you understand my hesitation to come on down here.
I do urge the body to pick up the gobble. That was not the most impressive gobble. That's slightly better. Representative Roberts or Representative Tipper, would you like to explain why we're concurring with the lower chamber?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. This one's easy. They stripped off the appropriations clause because they determined this bill does not need an appropriation. So ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on concurring to Senate amendments to House Bill 1057? Seeing none, the question before us is concurring with Senate amendments to House Bill 1057. Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Neville, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Neville votes yes. Representative Soper, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Soper votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Representative Ricks and Sandridge. Please close the machine. With 61 aye votes, 1 no vote, 2 excused, and 1 vacancy, concurring to Senate amendments to House Bill 1057 are adopted. Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move for the repassage of House Bill 1057 as amended.
The question before us is the repassage of House Bill 1057 as adopted or as amended. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Neville, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Neville votes yes. Representative Soper, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Soper votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Please close the machine. With 61 aye votes, 1 no vote, 2 excused, and 1 vacancy, House Bill 1057 is repassed as amended. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title to House Bill 1091.
House Bill 1091 by Representatives Doherty and Lynch, also Senator Buckner, concerning sentencing parity for juveniles convicted as adults following the transfer of charges with juveniles convicted as adults following the direct filing of charges.
All right. Representative Doherty and Lynch, the third time coming into the well is the charm. Representative Doherty.
I move that the House concur with Senate Amendment to House Bill 1091.
That's much better. Would you guys like to explain, Representative Lynch, why we are taking this action?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This amendment is necessary to ensure that the exact language of the original version of 1091, which came from the upper house, passed by the House, and becomes law if and only if Senate Bill 59 takes effect, repealing the sections where that language would otherwise appear. The amendment makes no substantive changes to the language in our original Bill 1091.
Rarely do they make substantive changes. Any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is concurring with Senate amendments to House Bill 1091. Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Neville, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Neville votes yes. Representative Soper, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Soper votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Please close the machine. With 62 aye votes, no no votes, 2 excused, and 1 vacancy, concurring with Senate amendments to House Bill 1091 are adopted. Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move for the repassage of House Bill 1091 as amended.
The question before us is the repassage of House Bill 1091 as amended. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Neville, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Neville votes yes. Representative Soper, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Soper votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Please close the machine. With 62 aye votes, 0 no votes, 2 excused, and 1 vacancy, House Bill 1091 is repassed as amended. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of the House Bill 1045.
House Bill 1045 by Representatives Young and Valdez D., also Senator Fields, concerning the Department of Agriculture's authority to control pests.
Representative Young.
Members, before I tell you what action we're going to take about the Senate amendment, I want to remind you this is a pest bill, and turkeys are not always effective at eradicating pests. So I move that we concur with the Senate.
Representative Young.
Once again, members, if you are a more sensitive member, this amendment relates to reproduction. So if you need to cover your ears, please do. In the original bill, we said we would eradicate pests, and the amendment is, and its parts capable of reproduction based on its absence. I'm not sure why the Senate was so concerned about that level of detail, but I do concur.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't ask any more questions, Representative Young. But thank you very much. Is there further discussion on the motion before us? Seeing none. The question before us is concurring with Senate amendments to House Bill 1045. Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Neville, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Neville votes no. Representative Soper, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Soper votes no. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Please close the machine. With 37 aye votes, 25 no votes, 2 excused, and 1 vacancy, concurring with Senate amendments to House Bill 1045 are adopted. Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move for the repassage of House Bill 1045 as amended.
The question before us is the repassage of House Bill 1045 as amended. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Neville, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Neville votes no. Representative Soper, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Soper votes no. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Representative Herod. Please close the machine. With 38 aye votes, 24 no votes, 2 excused, and 1 vacant, House Bill 1045 is repassed as amended. Co-sponsors. Co-sponsors? Please close the machine. Majority Leader Escar. I guess that brings us to announcements and introductions. Representative Michelson-Jeannet.
It's still morning, Public and Behavioral Health and Human Services. Let us get to committee in 9 minutes, 11:30. We will begin. Thank you.
Representative Pelton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A couple weeks ago, an earbud was lost in the chamber here. If it's anybody's, it's still up at my desk, so.
Further announcements and introductions. Representative Michelson-Jeannet, Hooten, and Representative Luck. Or, yeah.
Look, that is why we are here. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It looks like I have found some friends for my Friday affirmation. I'm super excited. Isn't that exciting, Representative Sandridge? It is exciting. Yes. So, Representative Michelson-Jeannet.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to share with all of you what a powerful and challenging week we have all gone through. And I want to share my love and enthusiasm and appreciation for each member of this chamber. Absolutely. Go.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In absentia. Members, and what I would like to share with you is, in spite of our differences, in spite of the challenges, the camaraderie and the civility of this chamber, I think is a shining example for the entire country and for all legislative bodies. I am just so absolutely honored and proud to serve with each and every one of you. And I honestly say from my heart, I just love you all very much. So thank you, and I hope you all have a wonderful weekend.
Representative Luck.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I want to again affirm all of you for the wonderful people you are, and I want to thank my colleagues for standing up here with me to give further strength and unity on this very important point, which is that you all are amazing and loved, worthy and adored, and we can't wait to see you again soon. Thank you.
Further announcements and introductions. Seeing none. Majority Leader Eskar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I expected us to be here a little bit later. I can't thank you enough for helping us clear off some of the work on our calendar. I know that I sound like a broken record, but know that a lot of work is headed our way. So thank you so much for getting through the work today. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I move that the House stand in recess until later today.
Seeing no objection, the House will stay in recess until later today.